Hey everybody, Steve here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to your investor update for the end of February of 2025. And I have to say, good riddance to February. It was not a great month. You already know that. Before we hop in, though, and talk about how that affects the stock price, quick disclaimer is right here. Standard, if we're talking about the company, it's a company. The building is the building. Everything is based on a formula that I've used from day one. It has all the assumptions in there. I don't review it every time, but everything is from my projections and all the legal framework that I have set up. I do have a lawyer that I'm talking to that's reviewing everything again from the original time we set up, and also have a CPA that I've retained that is helping us through making sure everything is specifically correct. And I have some good news on distributions here a little bit later in this. So, all right, let's talk about that share price. Okay, so the share price, the bottom line share price dropped $4 a share. So I don't like that, and that's not good. But it also increased $4.80 a share last in January because we added the building, and that's the equity in it. So I can't say nobody's down from where they purchased it, but pretty much everybody's still up, even at the 114 range. You can see the math there. The formula is 6 times the projected earnings off the 2029 projected AUM, which is 413 million. That's on a 2.5% glide path. So if we do 2.5 every month, that's exactly where we will be. Obviously, we won't do 2.5 exactly every month, and that's why the share price fluctuates. And again, we have the building. There's the appraisal price minus the what we have left on the note is 880. So it's 480K in equity divided by the 100,000 shares that are out there, $4.80. And again, shares will never be diluted. So let's talk AUM. Look in the left-hand column. It happens on occasion, but we lost money lost money. The book dropped in February. We had a lot of outflows. A lot of stuff's going on, which is good. Taxes coming up. That's big chunks leaving there from doing good work for folks. So I get it. But February is kind of tough. So we have last year, it was April that people waited to. But anyhow, you can see from the numbers on the right in the color code, these do happen. They are not the end of the world. But you do march backwards sometimes. And it's obviously tough when you're on a 2.5 degree glide path. If you actually move backwards, that moves it a little further out. So that's why you see the difference there. If you look at the bottom, 254 clients, that is +8 from last month. So it's not like we're sitting back and doing nothing. If anything, and whenever you see a market sell off, we pick up clients, right? There's a handful of do-it-yourselfers that roll over eventually and go, nope. I need professional help. So again, market sell-offs bring us more clients, and then of course the assets trickle in over time as the transfers go through. Sometimes transfers can take up to 6 weeks if you have to do a manual transfer from certain entities out there that drag their feet. So anyhow, that's just a little inside baseball and the information there. Shares remaining 300. So got clarification from the crew I'm working with for legal and tax that I can drop. So I had 2 board positions at 5%. So 500 shares. So we've dropped that down to where now I think I'm missing a zero. 3,000 shares, 300 shares. Yeah. Um, so no, it's fuck my math. I can't do it. So I had 100,000 shares. 10,000 shares remaining. So it's 3,000 shares. What's 300 here? Thousand shares. That thought. If you look down at the bottom, you can see we had picked up 8 clients there. We now have 254 clients, and you often see that when you come into a situation where the market starts to sell off, inevitably there's some do-it-yourselfers we've been talking to that, have come off the sidelines, if you will. Therefore, and it takes a while for assets to trickle in. Sometimes that can take up to 6 weeks, depending on who they're transferring in from. And then lastly, we did pick up a financial planning client as well. Okay, as far as the bottom there, shares remaining is 3,000. So again, we had 10,000 shares set aside for the two board positions. Again, working with the legal and the CPA team, they said that's fine to bring them down. Now it'll be two positions at 3.5%. So they'll have 3,500 shares. The other board member will buy in for 3,500 shares, and that way I can sell these 3,000 shares to really looking for you guys to pick these up. You can kind of see from where we are, and we're getting ready to hit into, and I'll talk to this in a little bit. We're getting ready to make a significant move higher up in AUM, right? If we can execute even at the C minus level, we're going to take off and do really good. And if we hit home runs, we're looking at 10 million a month of AUM to get that double by the end of the year, which is kind of my goal. It's not, we don't chase numbers here. We do the right thing and make it happen. The numbers follow, but I do think we're at 200 million by the end of the year. And that would obviously move the share price significantly higher. The math for you is if we go from where we are right now at 2.5%, we'll be at 140 million by the end of this year. So anything above 140 million is going to affect the stock price and go higher. So consider. Would like these to go in-house instead of bringing on any more new investors. So reach out to me if you're interested, but now really is the time. So bottom right notes, again, distributions. I've got the authority. I can drop the distribution exactly on 8/31/26. We'll probably adjust that date by a couple days, depending on what day of the week it falls on. But we're going to have, it's an annual distribution, not quarterly, and it's annual based off of the profits of 2026. We'll be profitable easily. We may even be profitable by the end of 2025, but with some depreciation on the building and stuff, there won't be a distribution. And I said, we're going to do it in 2026. So we're going to do it in 2026. We'll see how big it is. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a per share distribution. So whatever it comes out, whether it's 1 penny or $1 or $10, it's per share, right? So you just, however many shares you have, that's the amount you get. You will start getting a K1 with these distributions if you haven't dealt with that particular beast. That's interesting. It's a little more involved. Okay. And then, there at the bottom, it grows basically in for another 4.5 years. And then we'll get a valuation, and that will determine your specific share price from then. The formula will go away. So I have to stop calculating every month, and we'll just do an update every couple years. Okay, here is the chart. You can see a couple little hiccups there in the upper right, but as you look at the entire chart, it's parabolic, and it's going to even get steeper as we go into the classroom. So here's the growth projections. We're starting happy hours. You should have gotten an email earlier today with an invite to the March 7th and March 10th happy hours. You can go to ankerstarwealth.com/events to RSVP. We do need you to RSVP. Don't just show up, please. Just because our building can only hold so many people, right? And we don't want to overload ourselves because that would not be good. We have to turn people away, and we don't want to do that. So we're doing happy hours. It's a +1 mentality. The first time you come out, just come on out and see it. I get that. But if you are thinking, hey, I can help build the business too and protect my investment and add to the success of Ankerstar Wealth, then come on out. Look to bring a person, a couple, a friend, whatever you want. Just come on out. But don't not come because you don't have somebody, right? So just, do your best. That's all I ever expect. And then we do have industry relationships that are coming on as sponsors. You can see some of the lists are listed there. And if you go to that events page, you can see. Okay, spring educational series. Our first classes are week after next, the 12th through the 14th. The 11th through the 13th, looking down at the bottom right in that box. Those are tax strategies. So if you have tax issues or you're looking at your taxes and you don't like it, let's do something different. Let's get in front of it. Remember, there's doing taxes, which is what CPAs largely do, but the strategy generally is on the advisor side. So when we're pitching you different things out there and you're like, nah, I don't think so, we can show you big numbers of what it can save you. So consider. Those are 40 people per class. Come on out, whether you're a client or not. Don't care. Come on out for the information. And if you have friends that are interested in learning the info, it really is information. Yeah, we're going to have an engagement wheel, and we are going to be obviously selling how proud of we are over the product of the service that we offer, and how smart we are on these topics. But it is education, right? We're doing the right thing for people. Conversion assumptions, you can kind of pause and go through the math there if you want. But really, we're looking each week we do this. Even if we only get 2 people per session that sign up, which is like a 5% conversion, or if you assume a couples, it's a 10% conversion. That's 18 new clients a week. We're teaching 2 a month. That's 36. An average client for us is like 450,000. So even if we assume a lower, it's 10 million a month. It honestly, yes, I'm very excited to see how all this works out. All right, monetization of the building. I haven't rented it out yet because we're still building it out. But certainly I want to turn around and think of, there's a chocolate maker in Cedar Park that I've talked to that said she may come out and teach a class. They can rent out the speakeasy for stuff like that, as well as the classroom if people want to just host events. We don't want to turn it into, like a little kid birthday party situation. So the price is going to be pretty steep. But we do want, if people can afford to have nice things and want to come out and participate, then we're very excited to host them and monetize the building as well. Okay. Here is the building. If you haven't been out there yet, when you come, there's 4 entrances up front. You'll be going into the one that'll say VIP entrance. It says it right on the door. We'll have a big banner that says VIP entrance. That's you. You're the VIP. So come on in. And then, of course, here's the blue lines, or the areas we've been targeting with our digital marketing to get new folks in the door for the classes. And there's the address. If you have it yet, you can look it up, or go to the website. I don't know if on Google Maps if we're live yet or not. Okay, how do you make money as a member? Well, you share appreciation over time. If you reserve the right to sell, if you want to take your profits at any point in time, you can. Or if you don't like what you see, or you have other uses for money, just sell your shares back to the company, and then I'll turn and sell them out to somebody else that would like more. Distributions is what that'll start kicking in next year. I'm excited for that. Think small numbers first, but it gets bigger over time. And again, the nature of this business model is literally pristine. And then eventually there'll be an IPO or an equity event. Again, that could be an outright sale. It could be a partial sale. There's all kinds of ways this can be structured. But when it comes to your share of the business will probably translate to some cash and shares of the acquirer. So that's why a lot of them go down. And of course, it's up to me and the M&A team that we'll have in place to be able to negotiate that to get the best deal we can, of course, and make sure that all of our clients are taken care of under the new leadership. And eventually, whether Ankerstar Wealth is in the process or whatever, the building will sell as well, eventually. So again, you own equal shares of that. The lawyer's looking at maybe restructuring that back into one LLC. So you're not signing 2 things all the time. So layering it within the LLC, I don't know how to do that, but I think he's telling me that it can be done. So we're going to take a look at that. Okay, risk. Obviously, if I pass away during this growth phase, Mike will take over as CEO. Everything goes on. A couple $1,000,000 kicks in due to the insurance key person policy that we have on the firm that we have for another, I think, 6 years. And then, yeah, if you don't like it because I'm not around anymore, you can sell your shares at that time. Obviously, we need to manage a run on shares, right? But I think you'd be silly to do that. Mike will lead the organization from then on. Ankerstar Wealth, if you're worried about like family and nepotism and stuff like that, some of the shares that we have 51%. We'll sell back 5% to the firm, just so Irene and the family is not in a majority control at that point. So you don't have any of the weird stuff you see on TV. Okay. Risk number 2, the company doesn't grow in accordance with the projected growth schedule. That would shock me. However, I have to honor that it's a possibility. And you know what? If we don't hit 4 million by August of 2029, if we're at 389, we're going to hit it a couple months later. So, I mean, it's not like we're not going to get there. We're going to get there. It's just whether we get there on the schedule that I've set forth. And I think we're easily going to beat that. All right. We already kind of talked about the in-states acquisition, or just stays private for a long time. And again, if it stays private, then you have the option, again, to cash in your shares if you've made enough. Say we stay private and go to $1 billion, which I'd like to do before we even consider a sale. Yeah, remember, you can sell your shares back to the firm if you need that money and call it good at that time. And then again, the building is the building. Okay, that's all I've got. Long-winded. I went a little bit of detail because I did want to explain it to one new person that may be looking at signing on. So if you ever have any questions on any stuff, how it works, how distributions work, all that stuff, just reach out to me and ask. All right, with that, thanks again for listening in, and we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.